week we're going to discuss Dorothy Jane Scott.
Hello, Cafe.
Hello, Vinny.
I
Are you
forgot to do my.
well, and are you ready to discuss Dorothy Jane Scott? This is a mystery that I can't figure out at all. I can't figure out why it happened. I can't figure out who did it. They're not even giving us any great options on who did it. And I can't figure out why the police were this freaking useless.
This was ridiculous. I mean,
All right, so I don't know if any of folks out there have heard of Dorothy Jane Scott.
I had not until you told me we were going to be talking about it. So I had to look it up, and I was like, "Well, this is a peculiar case."
Yes. Well, we're going to talk about Dorothy Jane, who was 32 years old when she went missing. So, uh, there you go. You know she's gone missing. And we're going to get into why and who, and if anybody has any ideas, because this seems like to me such a case that could have been solved.
Should have been
And
solved easily, and yet
so Dorothy Jane Scott was living in Anaheim, California. And this was in 1980. She was a single mother. She had a 4-year-old son. Uh, in some reports, he's Shanti, and in others, he's Sean. Um,
I don't remember his name.
yeah, so she, by all accounts, was a good worker, good mother. She did
Very
not
religious.
very religious. Yep, she was a homebody. She was not into partying. She was not dating anybody. She worked two jobs at
One
I
was at like a head shop or
heard
something.
that's what I heard too. It
Yeah,
was
and the
like
other one was like a weird hippie. Both of them were hippie shops, but the other one was like an oddity hippie shop too.
which is also interesting that I mean, I guess you take whatever you can get for work, but it's interesting she was very religious and
Yeah,
not a
since she didn't
partier
she
and
didn't drink, she didn't do drugs at all, and didn't go to parties, and yet she's working at a head shop in a hippie place. But
right, right. Well, and the only thing that could have been her potential downfall in this situation was she was extremely predictable. So it would appear she has a stalk. Well, she definitely had someone stalking her. Uh, but that probably made it pretty easy for them because they could pretty much know where she was going to be at any given time.
and she would drop her
Um,
son off at her parents' house to babysit. So they knew her route. They knew when she dropped her son off, when she picked him up, when she had her job, you know, easy to
right,
figure out. They were watching.
right. And so starting several months, so they don't give an exact amount, but it was like late 1979. She starts getting these anonymous phone calls. Um, this person is claiming to be madly in love with her, uh,
Sometimes.
threatening. I'm sorry.
Sometimes he would say how much he loved her, and sometimes he would say how much he wanted to kill her.
Right. It went back and forth. Definitely had complete knowledge of her daily activities and was bringing that to her attention. Now, she didn't seem to have any idea at all. I mean, I don't even feel like she had any inkling who this could be. Um,
He would
but
even tell her what she was wearing.
mhm.
That's got
Yep.
to be creepy as hell.
But you would think that I mean, she had to be constantly looking. But examples of what these messages would be to her, one would be, I love you. The next would be, I'm watching you, or something like that. And then fun ones like this. When I get you alone, I will cut you into bits and no one will ever find you.
So romantic.
It's so romantic. I mean, can you imagine? That must have been absolutely terrifying. And here she is, a single mom with a 4-year old. Like, it's got to be Oh. Now, Dorothy did feel like the voice was familiar, but she could never pinpoint where she had heard it. So that's terrible.
That kind of comes into play later too about the
Hmm.
parents. The
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and then so the other thing is she never reports any of this. She doesn't even tell her parents about it. I guess she didn't want to worry them at the time or whatever. Um,
Plus,
there's
keep in mind, there were no stalker rule or laws. There was nothing to help you against the stalker. People, if she had reported it, the police probably would have said, you're just being paranoid, lock your door, get a gun, make sure you keep your alarms on, or get an
Mhm.
alarm. They would not have made a big deal. They really didn't do much of anything about stalking until it affected celebrities.
Right, right, right. That's true. That's true. And I mean, here's one particular incident that I can totally see that she felt there was no point. So she got one of these phone calls, and the caller instructed her to go outside, and she because he had left or something. And so she went outside and she found a single dead rose on her car, and attached to it was a note suggesting that the rose represented her death. At this
Again,
point, she became very scared, although I don't know how the calls themselves were not terrifying. But again, she knows that this guy's been near her and is knows her car and whatever. Um, I do think because of the threatening note, although it doesn't matter. I listen to Stalked podcasts now. There's actually a podcast called Stalked, and even then,
what
basically, police will say, "Well, if he hasn't actually physically threatened you,
yeah, it's like if the person hasn't actually hurt you, then it doesn't matter. But they didn't.
broken into your house," or
Yeah, if there's not like an actual crime, it's not a crime to stalk people at that time. But the way that law came into effect, do you remember that show, My Sister Sam?
mm-hmm,
That, yeah, the younger woman, she was being stalked by a fan, and he did kill her at her home when she like
mm-hmm.
opened the door to get in. He like
He
came
shot her. Yeah, I
yeah,
remember
right
that.
there. I mean, it was so shocking. And that's really what initiated the stalker thing, but it had to have been a celebrity
Mm-hmm.
before anybody
Mm-hmm.
paid attention to it. And all these people, there were so many people that have been dealing with stalkers for years and years, but nobody, you're being paranoid, lock your doors, get a gun. It's not going to help you if somebody's broke into your house and they're hiding somewhere and you come home
Right,
yourself. That's not going to help you. They can
right, and
overpower you if you've got a gun. That's usually not a very good defense.
well, and and she did actually start taking self-defense classes, but she stopped because they actually made her more unnerved. I think
Yeah,
because
she was
she
taking like karate classes or
Mhm.
something.
the night she vanishes. So all this has been going on. She's scared, but she's not really telling anybody who can protect her, really. Um,
Just going about her day, still going to work, dropping off her son, her regular stuff. And
yep.
remember, she wasn't dating anyone. There were no
Hmm.
men involved in her life
Mm-mm.
until the night she went missing.
Right, right. Which would be interesting to hear you guys' comments, but I would think that this particular incident, even though it's so innocuous, might have been the inciting incident
That's what
because
I'm thinking.
um so she's at a staff meeting at 9 p.m. I don't know what a head shop staff meeting is like. Everybody's sitting around smoking a bowl. I don't know what they're doing, but they're having a staff meeting, and she was at the staff meeting. Well, while she's there, she notices that her coworker Conrad Bostron is seemingly very ill. He's having redness in his arm. He's swelling, severe pain, and so Dorothy and another coworker, Pam Head, who also worked at the head shop, Pam, insisted on they took him to the emergency room.
Yeah, they said he was like pale and sweating, and you could just tell he needed medical attention bad. There was something going on with his was an arm or something, but it was he was sick. He was very unwell.
Mm-hmm. So they head to the Irvine Medical Center, UC Irvine, and the doctors determined that he actually has a black widow spider bite. So it was good that they took him. They're with him there, and he's there until after right around 11. So Dorothy offers she's going to go get her car and pull it up so that they can get in. And she goes out to get the car, and they're checking out. They actually see they're out waiting out on the sidewalk, and they actually see her car go racing out of the
Just
parking.
flying out of there.
Yep. And but they can't see because it's dark and there's headlights. They can't tell who's driving. So they assume that there must be a family emergency, although that really never made sense to me because you've brought somebody to the doctors, you're going to bring them home. It sounds to me like you would go rushing back in and say, I've got to leave. Can you get a ride with someone else? I have to go. I don't think you would just speed
Well,
up.
they were saying maybe they're like maybe she called because they said that first she when she went to get the car she was going to first stop into the bathroom, so maybe they thought, well, maybe she stopped at the payphone to check on her son and let them know she was on
Mm-hmm.
her way, and then maybe there was an emergency at home with her son, but again she wouldn't have just left them, but they were
Maybe
trying to rationalize something that
they.
didn't make any sense, and they kept thinking she was going to come back.
And I'll give them props. I mean, I realize this isn't pre, Uber and whatever. They they stay there for 2 hours waiting. I was like, I would have been like blowing up somebody's phone.
I
Like,
would have called somebody to take us home. It's like this guy
right.
needed to lay down and take some medicine, and that other woman obviously needed to go home.
Yeah, so
They could have called somebody from the head shop.
they could have. Um, but
Tax.
yeah, so they she never comes back. But and I do believe at that point, I don't have it here, but I believe that they do let the parents know at
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah. They called the parents' house to see after a couple hours if she had returned home, and they were like, "No,
Uh,
that they
okay, so
reported her missing."
then early the next morning, like 4:35 a.m., they find her Toyota station wagon and it's burning.
Yeah, the police were notified, and they actually did do
Mhm.
something because this was obviously someone took her. Something's wrong here. This is way out of character. Something happened to
Mhm.
her. So they were looking and they found a burning vehicle.
Yep. And they find it in an alleyway about 10 miles from the hospital. There's no sign of Dorothy. There's no sign of struggle, although it's a burning car. So,
Yeah, how you
uh,
know?
and there's no forensic evidence because of the fire. So they literally have no idea if they don't know if anybody was with her. They don't know anything. But she's disappeared. She's not in the car. So she's somewhere. So, but again, they don't know if she didn't like freak out, and I don't know why they would ever think she would freak out and like leave her life behind and leave this. I don't know. But uh about a week later, Dorothy's parents get a phone call. And the man simply says, I've got her, and hangs up. So, even just saying that, can you imagine your daughter's missing and you pick up the phone and somebody says, I've got her?
Yeah, and you've been waiting all this time to hear something from her, and then you get a call from some man. And the
Mm-hmm.
mom answered the phone.
Yes, the mom. Yep. And the other thing is that we've seen this with other cases. There's so many cranks. Do you even believe this is real? Because like what, like the Johnny Gosh
Oh,
case,
yeah.
where I mean, there's so many people just cruel, cruel behavior. Um, that would be terrifying enough. But these calls go on for years.
Wasn't it every Wednesday? And yet, how long did it take for the cops to finally try to tap the phone?
Right?
Why were
Right?
they doing that from day one? Maybe she had been kidnapped and held for ransom.
And
Who? They did
and
nothing.
they didn't put together the other thing that drove me crazy about these cops. They didn't put together that it's every Wednesday and whoever it is seems to be completely aware that Dorothy's father is not home. So they
And
want to make sure they're just talking to the mother.
yeah, exactly. And this person knew what they were going with. He knew about their life. He knew where they were going. He knew what they were wearing. He was still stalking. He was stalking her parents. Well, basically the mom, but he was still stalking that whole house.
Mm-hmm.
And yet,
Yep.
why did they not have surveillance?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's crazy to me that hey, they're not tracing this. It's crazy that um they're not it doesn't even appear that they're talking to people who knew her or talking to people who live close to them. It just doesn't seem like they're following it. Like they're like, ah, we don't know. This is weird. And
Yeah,
it's
they
like,
they were first suggesting that maybe it was the guy that got bit by the spiders. Like that doesn't even make sense. And
uh-huh.
then they never investigated like all of her coworkers. They should have checked on that.
Mhm.
Probably not. They should have checked on any friends of the mom and dad. They didn't do that.
They didn't really, it doesn't appear they pretty much were like, well, we don't know.
Yeah, we just
But I do think that Conrad's spider bite, and by the way, one of them said that the person was aware.
yeah, he told them when he one of the phone calls to prove that he was the person, he told them exactly where she was. He said, no, no, no. When was it? He said that, no, he called the newspaper. Didn't he call the newspaper? Because he said that he had her, he killed her because he was in love with her and she cheated on him. And then he was saying that she cheated on him with the spider bite guy because he saw them together.
Right. And so he sent that to the Orange County Register. Um, and his
The police had told her parents not to go to the press, but they didn't do anything for weeks. So the parents finally told the press, and when they first started telling the world about it, or the area, that's when he called in or wrote in or called. I guess he called in. That's when he contacted the newspaper to tell them, yeah, I killed her.
yep, and
She,
he
not
was
me.
yep. And so again, to me it's like if it's think about who knew about the spider bite. That had to have been a very limited amount of people. I mean, I would almost, wouldn't you guess it's only the three of them?
Well, no, because when he took her, I'm sure he was badgering her about you cheated on me, and she probably said no, he was bit by a spider, and she was
Mm.
probably explaining to him what had happened, but the only way he could have known that was to have that firsthand account from her. So
That's
that
true.
was
I didn't even think of it. I was thinking of him lurking and realizing where they went or
he
being in the.
probably just saw them getting in the car together and then didn't know what was going on in the hospital, but thought they were together. And then when she came out alone, he was so angry he got her because
Right. Well,
of the man.
his direct quote to the Orange County Register is, "I killed her. She was my love. I caught her cheating with another man." So now, interestingly, the police did think that they knew this was probably a legit response because he was revealing things like the spider bite that had never been released to the public. So they knew that he had to have gotten it from
He had
Dorothy.
inside info, yeah.
Um, so they don't find anything So this happened in 1980. They don't find anything until 1984. Now, keep in mind, for 4 years, this guy has been calling every Wednesday. Construction workers in Anaheim Hills discover a skull, human bones, animal bones, a turquoise ring, and a wristwatch.
What was crazy is too that the construction guys, they were digging, well, I guess for, I don't know if it was pipes or there was going to be like some construction going on there, so they were digging, and they said that he jokingly told his employees, "Careful, keep an eye out for dead bodies," and then he's the one that found it, but she was there. The body was there with a dead dog, so it's like
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know
they
what the
don't,
deal
and they
was.
never really can pinpoint that either. But but the parents do immediately say that the watch and the ring were belonged to Dorothy, but of course she was, so
Just
uh
bones, but they did have dental records too.
right, and that's how and it was confirmed that
Yeah.
that was her. Of course, with only bones, you can't tell cause of death. Um and they don't really have they have nothing about how she died. But did they even have how, like, when she would have died? Like, was this like she died that night and now the body's just been found, or did he have her for, they don't know, like,
Yeah, they were trying to
anything.
connect it. Oh, the weren't the bones, wasn't it? They were burned, weren't they?
Yes, but there was actually
There had been a forest fire, so
right, so they speculated she'd been out there through the forest fire. Or
yeah, they thought that at first they didn't think it was her. They thought it was just somebody with their dog that had got caught up in the fire.
Mhm.
And then when they did the dental records, they realized it was her. But the fact that there was a dog there, there's got to be a connection to that. I mean, like maybe it was his dog. Maybe the dog betrayed him by liking her or something. It's just
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
weird.
it's really fascinating because you'll never really know, because that was like 2 years after she was missing, was the forest fire. So you don't know. I mean, she might have been with him for a year. He might have
Yeah, you
kept
don't know
her,
what she went through.
right, and you don't know. You're right. He could have had a dog that suddenly the dog was, I don't know, but I mean,
Uh,
there's legit nothing,
well,
nothing,
a
no.
detective, a real detective, would have started narrowing it down to maybe people that knew the family. Did they have a dog at that time? This was a large dog. Is their
Mhm.
dog dead now? They didn't do anything. They could have at least ruled it out. The connection
Mhm.
with the dog might have really been a big clue, but they didn't do anything.
They really did nothing. I feel like they just were like, because now they've lost all hope of the caller, because as soon as the body's found, so he's clearly still watching and they know that they've identified the body,
Mhm.
he never calls again. So that's the end of that connection. Uh that Now, it did say in the investigation they did talk to coworkers, they did talk to former boyfriends, acquaintances, and family members, but no one was ever considered an actual suspect. So I don't know.
Now, the thing, the dad, though, wasn't it the dad that toward in the end there? Because I know he passed away, but toward the end of his life, he said something about how he believed it was somebody that it was this guy that he knew. I don't know the connection. They showed a picture of the guy in the documentary I watched, and there was something about him, and the reason the dad felt like it was him for his own personal suspicions, but also because he only called when he wasn't home for fear that he would recognize. He thought it
Mhm.
was because he would recognize his voice. And the one
Mm.
time he answered the phone, the guy acted really weird and didn't stay on the phone hardly at all because he
Mhm.
thought he would recognize the voice.
See, that would have been a good lead too, as far as but also I would assume there was a way to record.
The voice,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, because it seems to me that if they had recorded the voice and played it for all these people,
Somebody would
somebody
have
might have been.
recognized it.
Yeah, I mean,
Plus, I mean, I doubt she kept the dead rose, but she might have kept a note or something. It's like there was evidence that she was being harassed. Did they talk to anybody and say, have you seen a car? Have you seen a vehicle that's been hanging around? The
Hmm.
neighbors, have you seen a vehicle that's around a lot? Because obviously he kept coming around.
Hmm. Um,
They didn't do that. And I think the only reason they started looking for her quickly. And the only reason they actually did anything good is because the dang car was on fire. So, of course, they're going to find it because it's on fire. I don't think they
hmm.
were looking very hard. They just got lucky because he set it on fire.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I just feel like they could have narrowed it down at least to have some like
A
um
suspect, something.
the speculation is, was he in the car with her? My guess was he was. I mean, if she's tearing through, he had already gotten her in the parking lot.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
I'm
I
sure.
don't think that I don't think she was like they were speculating, was she forced to drive and whatever. I think she was probably already bound in the back seat and he was driving.
Yeah, I think he grabbed her. I mean, did they check people from her church?
Mm-hmm.
Because she did start going to church on a regular basis all of a sudden. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe somebody from church was acting weird to her or a little too, cozy with her, that she was not, she wasn't into that guy, but he was obsessed with her or something. Because since
Mm-hmm.
she did go to church quite a bit, that would be a place where he would have maybe gotten to know her or saw her and watched her, knowing that she didn't date. But as soon as he saw her with Spider
Mm-hmm.
Bite guy, that was the end of it. That
Well, it's interesting you brought up my sister Sam because that was the trigger too. He was already obsessed with that actress. I can't think of her name, but then she had done a film that had like a love scene in it, and that's
oh,
all
he
it
was
took.
so upset about that because it was like she
Yeah.
was supposed to be pure,
Mm-hmm.
and it was
Yeah.
like a sex scene in a movie
Yep.
or TV show or something, and he was just like,
Yep. That
how
had,
dare her be.
and so I mean, it's the smallest trigger. It's taking somebody, a coworker, which by the way, the trigger is so ludicrous because it wasn't her alone. That
Yeah,
other
he was with
woman was,
someone else,
could
but
have been that woman's boyfriend for all, but you know,
he wasn't
um,
going to have them in the car together. So maybe he was in the front seat with her,
hmm,
but I don't.
that's true. Um, so the big question though is why did he keep calling? I mean, was that his way to keep? He had killed her, but that was his way to keep this alive for him or his obsession alive because he definitely, obviously called the parents, but then he felt the need to contact the newspaper. So,
But yeah, I think him calling the mom every week was his way of keeping her alive
mhm,
in his mind because it was kind of like he still had control over a part of her life, which was her mother. Because
mhm,
every time he called, he knew he was getting an emotional reaction from the mom. So
mhm,
that probably fed whatever weirdness he had going on in his head.
mhm.
Maybe they talked a lot alike. A lot of daughters sound a lot like their mom.
Yeah, and they do bring up that it is very interesting that the father had to be gone. I mean, if he wanted to just torment, so it does make you think that he thought the father might identify him in some way. I mean, I find it so hard to believe that they couldn't pinpoint. It's almost like they never had any suspect. Like they never brought. I mean,
Yeah.
they questioned people, but they never had a viable
No, they never had a
person of
suspect. And now
interest.
all of them are dead. Even that one guy that the dad suspected, they've all just been deceased for a while now. So it's like,
Mm-mm.
that won't ever be solved. How could it possibly? There's no evidence. I'm sure they didn't keep any evidence.
Right, right. Well, and the dog is fascinating because I think that Anaheim Hills, that at that time it was very isolated. It was not built up. So it does make you think that they might have dumped her pretty early on and just brought her to a location they didn't think anybody would ever find her. Um, but they also felt it was somebody local for sure
Oh, definitely
because
be.
they knew that you would have to know that area, like where to dump her. And obviously there was they don't have a motive other than obsession because there was no robbery that they could decipher. They don't
I
have
mean,
they don't.
she even had her jewelry still on. So,
Mhm.
oh, and this is the part that really puzzled me. She was wearing a watch. They said the
Mhm.
watch had stopped, like, I think it was like 30 minutes to an hour after she disappeared.
Mhm.
That confuses me because what kind of watch would just stop? I mean, it's not like it's connected to her heart. Why
I
did the
couldn't
watch stop?
I could figure that one out either because it was probably well, definitely in the 80s, it was more than likely a wind up where you had to wind it or it would maybe it had a battery, but um yeah, I'd heard somebody say that they felt like it was intentional, like he had actually stopped it, like she's gone. But
That's what I was thinking. It was
yeah.
like he would have had to have done it on purpose because it wasn't smashed up, it was stopped
Hmm.
at a certain time after she disappeared. So it's almost like obviously this person's got some serious mental issues, and that would be extraordinarily symbolic to stop her
Hmm.
watch.
Well, it would be almost like calling time of death.
Yeah, yeah, pronouncing time of death. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like, plus I guess she had one of those watches because they said that they could tell when it was. And I know back then the way the watches were, a lot of times it would have like the day and it would have the time. So
Yeah, it would have the little actual
yeah, the
little
days of the
yeah,
month.
like it was almost like a little thing inside. Um,
I just thought that was so strange.
it is strange. And
But
I
he
thought that
was
was
obsessed with every detail about her, so I wouldn't imagine he would skip the watch. That's a pretty big detail, and it's very, very symbolic of time
hmm.
of death.
I mean, I think we can figure out the motive was obsession. Um,
Yeah. And then his insane jealousy, thinking that she was hooking up with some guy when, in his mind, she was supposed to be pure and didn't date anyone else because he
hmm.
thought she was his. And just the thought of her being with another guy. Maybe, like I said, maybe that guy was in the front seat with her. Maybe he didn't see the girl in the back seat.
Hmm.
Maybe he thought they were riding off at night together or something.
Right, right, right.
And I'm
To
sure she begged him and pleaded and tried to explain to him that no, no, he got bit by a spider. I was just taking him to the hospital, but
I was gonna say that romantic rendezvous to the emergency room. I mean,
very
that's
romantic with that spider bite. The guy's over
yeah.
there sweating to death and swelling up.
I mean, even in the investigation I did, I think there was like one guy who was the friend of somebody she worked with who was like a musician or something, and he was really into her. But again, I feel like it was never followed up on. They never even brought him in to. And the thing is, it seems like such a basic thing. Bring him in, record. I mean,
Interrogate him. I mean, that's what you're
or
supposed to do, but
well, and also record it so you can just play it to the mother and say, "Does this sound
yeah, it
anything?"
sounds like, yeah, they question people, but they probably just like went into the head shop and talked to people quickly, wrote it down, vaguely spoke to family members. Is there anyone you suspect at that time? No. And
Mm-hmm.
then they weren't hauling people down to the police department and, giving them the third degree.
Well, I also think that I mean, there's, a lot of times now you can hope that it might get solved because of DNA and whatever. They legit have nothing. This will never be solved.
No, it's
I
a
don't,
it's a dead case.
yeah, you'll never, I mean, that person, unless that person came forward and just suddenly was alive and gave all the information, it's not gonna ever, they'll never
Well,
know.
unless that person told someone else and admitted to it, and that person eventually comes forward because that guy's dead, I'm sure. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's not even a cold case. It's frozen. It's
So,
it's gone. It's just
well, and I found this one fascinating for that very reason. That like, and you know what else is really interesting is I've heard many, many times people don't just disappear. Well, of course they did find her, but that was only because I mean, I
accident.
guess I guess you can't say that he eventually wanted her to be found. I mean, I guess probably he didn't really want her to be found because that cut off his talking. Although I don't even understand why he stopped. I mean, I guess there was no point. He couldn't torment like she could be alive because that was kind of what he was doing for 4 years. Like she's alive, she's not alive.
I think the reason he stopped calling was probably that was part of his game because obviously he was playing a bunch of mental head
Hmm.
games. It's all about the head shop and the head games. He probably had told himself, I'm going to keep calling till they find her.
Hmm.
And once they found her, the game was up. That was
Hmm.
it. The game was over.
Hmm.
That was probably part of his
Yeah, it's
mental.
just I don't know. It's just crazy. So anyway, this is a little bit of a shorter case, but we actually are kind of hoping that you will join in and give your theories and, I mean, unfortunately there's not a whole lot. I mean, it's a lot more interesting if they didn't catch the person, but you have a lot of like definite suspects. They didn't even have suspects, really. They really pinpointed nobody. The only person I heard about was that musician who was interested in her.
I had
Um,
just heard about the friend of the dad's or the guy that the dad knew that looked like he was an older guy too, like the dad's age, and the dad suspected him later, and that
mm,
was why he wouldn't talk to him on the phone because he would have instantly recognized the voice.
that's
But yeah, what do you
yeah.
guys think should have happened, or what do you guys think could have, who this could have been? Who do you
Hmm.
think it was?
Well, and this is one of our, we've kind of been playing with stranger danger. This is clearly, we don't even actually know if this was a stranger. It could have been somebody she knew well. But here's the thing too, is that this was a time period of all this stuff on crazy abductions. There were some, but they were really, as we went through the statistics, they were really pitching that, children were disappearing. But then there were stalkers that no one paid it. There was no laws, as you said. It was not taken seriously. And I would hazard to guess that stalking happens way more than stranger abduction.
Now, what
And
is it? What is it they said in the Silence of the Lambs when when Hannibal was trying to teach her what to look for, and he told her that basically
hmm,
it's the person that is coveting what they see. So did they check the neighborhood? Did they check someone that lived close enough to
hmm,
literally watch her with binoculars? Did he live next door? Did he live across the street? He had
hmm,
easy access to just leave a rose on her car. He
hmm,
saw her coming and going. And here's the other thing. This is why I think maybe that's the case because she went back home, and then because she was on her way to that meeting that they had, that
hmm.
whatever, and she changed her scarf from one color to
That's
another,
right.
and he mentioned that. So
You're
how
right.
did he see that? I mean, she would have known if there was a car following her and it pulled up in front of her house. So how did he see her come home and change her scarf? Then he obviously got in his vehicle and started following her. So where was he? He was
Hmm.
watching her the whole time, but where was he? Probably.
Yeah, that is a really good, and I'd forgotten the scarf. Yeah, that was one of the things he mentioned. She was wearing a black scarf originally and changed to a red scarf, I believe, and he mentioned that.
And how would
So,
he have known that unless he's literally watching her come home, change her scarf, and leave again?
mhm,
Probably thinking, I bet she's going on a date, not
mhm,
realizing this is out of the norm. It's a business meeting for work. He probably thought she was going on a date. Then he
mhm,
sees her leave with a man.
mhm.
Mm, 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 mm.
Yeah, I mean this one's I found this it's kind of a low key case. I mean, it's terrible to say that anybody's death and disappearance and the trauma these parents went through, but it's kind of like we're not looking at, you know, 15 victims and whatever, but we are yet again looking at police that seems to be like majorly dropping the ball here. Like there had to be more that could have, and that poor kid, I mean, you have a 4-year-old mother and 4-year-old mother. Is my hair doing crazy stuff?
It
So
just,
I know for a fact I walk around work with my hair just like, "Mm." um,
yeah, I was
but
like, got a whoop.
it does. Oh,
Pay no attention to Kathy's hair. This is serious business.
no, but this son had no answers ever, and obviously had an amazing mom that was really a huge part. I mean, it's just devastating that nothing was found.
It's
It's
so frustrating because you want answers, you want things to be solved, you want people to be punished for what they had done, and yet nobody was held accountable. She was just taken from her son. No one was held accountable. The mother was harassed for years, and yet nobody ever had to answer for that. They didn't
mm-mm,
do nothing.
mm-mm. It's
It's
crazy. So we definitely, like I said, this is a little bit more of a, just a mystery. But yeah, it's interesting. Again, it's interesting to me that stranger danger was so pitched, but stalking had no laws, no, and women, without a doubt. I mean, men too, but women predominantly, especially when you actually look at the time period of women were what I think it was until the 70s. I don't know what year that a woman couldn't even have a credit card without their husband co-signing. So these are not autonomous. I mean, stalking was probably even more prevalent back then than
Oh, I'm sure.
I
I
mean,
should have wore my detective hat.
you
Dick
should have.
Demon. Dick Demon on duty. That's my detective. I am Dick Demon. Private Eye.
We
It was the
definitely
neighbor.
needed you. We definitely needed you. And
It was
Dorothy,
the neighbor looking through his binoculars, looking at her scarf.
except for then Dick Demon, it's really just your own reflection. So you thought it was the neighbor where you're like, oh, I see somebody with binoculars. Oh, wait, it's
Oh,
me.
it's me. That's
But
Kathy. Kathy
anyway,
thinks somebody's looking in the window at her, but it's just her looking at herself,
it
making a
is.
terrible
We
face,
can't talk
scaring
about the
herself.
windows. We can't talk about the
Uh-oh.
windows. There.
Scaring herself because she's looking at her reflection in the mirror because of her hair. She's just like, "What's
It's my
going
hair. I just think it's like, I think it's an alien. I think it's antennae. Um, but that is it, folks. We want to hear what you think. We want to hear your opinions. You want to, probably more. We've heard already that nobody really knew anybody who had been kidnapped or abducted.
on?"
Like
Yeah,
they didn't have any. But do you know anybody who's been stalked? I'd be curious to.
me a few times.
That is true. That is true. Well, I have my stalker now who's ancient and not very fast, so I can get away pretty well.
Oh,
But
that's right. You have.
I have a
You're
stalker
right
right
about that.
now. I
You have one.
absolutely do. I
You can
one.
run faster than your stalker, but you do have one.
I do.
I just go
Yeah.
incognito when I leave my apartment, so nobody
There
recognizes.
you go.
But I've had.
But yeah, so this one's a little more low key from what we've been doing, but very interesting to me. And I think that hopefully you guys find it interesting and have thoughts about it. But anyway, make sure you're sharing, subscribing, hitting that
email us your
notification.
email us your stories, and be sure to give us your alien stories. We're doing that next, so we
Yep.
want aliens. Did
And
you
I
see
think
anything? Did you hear anything? Were you abducted? Did they do the probe with the chicken?
that the chickens were probed last week.
Chicken probes.
But the
Uh,
other thing too is that we are heading, can you believe this? We are heading, I think we're only possibly 4 episodes away from 25 episodes. So
Ooh.
we need to yet again do another little celebration. And one thing that I was thinking would be sort of fun is we had requests for a question and answer type
Are
thing
we getting
with
any of
us.
those?
We've gotten a couple, but we need more. We need more. So if you have any questions for Vinny or I, and you would like us to answer them, if you want us to use your name and say, hey, so and so has a question, we want to do that. But I think we need to do another special episode for the 25th. I'm pretty impressed that we're making it to 25. We're doing good. Uh, and we're not running out of, I don't think we will ever run out of.
No, we won't. And if you guys have ideas for shows, be sure
Oh,
to let
we
us
would
know.
love your ideas because we want to give you the stuff you want. We're kind of just we're jumping around right now, getting a feel for. Actually, to be honest, Vin and I talked about it, and we're like, "Wow, we've done some heavy cases. Let's do aliens." Which, you know, at least we can laugh a little bit more.
That could be heavy, depends on what the aliens did to you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really a victimless crime. I don't know what we would call it, but anyway, uh, we hope you enjoyed this week. We hope you have some ideas, and we'd love to hear any stories you have about something you or someone you know went through because stalking.
Email. Email
Email.
them. Don't
Yeah, don't
don't
write
put
them in the thing because then we can't share them. You've already shared them, and we want to be able to, we'd love to make an episode of it. So that would be helpful. So the email's in the show notes. Go to Spotify, follow us there, write a review, and we will keep plugging along. We're going to be 25 episodes. I'm pretty impressed with ourselves. We're almost halfway through a year.
we are.
That's awesome. So anyway, we're going to say goodnight. I'm going to get some sleep. I'm a sleepyhead. And I think we uh I think we covered it. So we'll see
Good.
you next week.
Bye.
Bye.